Alright, everybody. Welcome to the championship game of the Sirocco tournament for May and June. This was hosted by Diablo, and the final teams are Team 5 and Team 6. Team 5 from Super Saiyan Tommy. That is the POV we will be viewing today. I have to kind of cast this game from his point of view in the Discord. For anybody who doesn't know, Super Saiyan Tommy, I have actually casted a few of his games before back in Battle Tanks. He was known there as Pikabar, and he was the #1 ranked player in that game for quite a while. We do see him open up with two very long-range weapons, the Chain Shot and the Frag Mortar. That's actually very ineffective at clearing waves, but I think they planned to have the team of three go with long-range weapons and be a little bit safer, and that probably allows him. You'll see that he only has 5 regeneration to spec 2 accelerator upgrades instead of repair. Getting 2 repair upgrades at the start of the game is considerably stronger because instead of 5 regeneration, you will have 13 hit point regeneration, and that amounts to at least 1,000 hit points over the first 3 minutes of the game. It looks like the Team B on the right, they're completely abandoning this bottom lane. They're going to let the 3 Team 5 players just kill the tower 3v1. Looks like Team B did kill a tower at the top, though, and I wonder who won the payout. It looks like Team A won the payout. That's, I guess, Team A refers to the left team, and Team B refers to the right team. Team A is Team 5, and Team B is Team 6. And so Team 5, now that they've killed the bottom tower, they're going to come up and respond to this push by Team 6. I wonder if anybody has a wave clear ship available. We do see Super Saiyan Tommy has 600 Akko, and so somebody can probably get a 3rd accelerator upgrade and get a ship real quick. Probably would have been worth Super Saiyan Tommy doing that instead of just going straight up unless they really urgently want to get a kill here. But if there's any wave clear ship available, just send the one person maybe to the bot lane by themselves. They can hold it even 1v2, make sure that Team B does not kill the bottom tower. Yeah, now they have all 5 up here taking a couple of harpoons, and I think everybody's pretty much going to have to reset by their next ships. Oh, P coming in and taking quite a bit of damage, but he is able to wind in a bottle and speed out. Super Saiyan Tommy himself has very low health and has also used his repair. He does have another repair coming online in 35 seconds, but it's not going to be very impactful, and so I think what we're going to see is Super Saiyan Tommy and Jacqueline Hyde, they're both going to go back and get another ship, while the 3 other players try to hold that top extractor. Looks like the red team, that's Team 6, they will win this next payout, barring maybe a kill happening. But I don't think that's going to happen considering only 3 players on that top lane are active for Team B. It would take quite a blunder from one of Team 6 for the Team 5 to get a kill there. Tommy and Jacqueline Hyde are on their way to the bottom lane. Tommy did not get another ship, and in fact I forgot to look at his build menu when he went back to the base, so I don't actually know what kind of upgrades he has. I doubt he's going weapon upgrades if he's equipping long-range weapons. If his intent is to wave clear with weapons, I would have gone with medium or short-range weapons at this point. So he might be stacking up accelerator upgrades. They're going to try to hunt down Darrow, who's taking the harvester, and Darrow does use a repair, so he'll probably be safe. Gets a level 2 harpoon off on Super Saiyan Tommy. Tommy has a harpoon himself. Hits 2 of the 3 onto Darrow, so Darrow takes about 630 damage. And I think Team 5 is going to be able to save this harvester. Super Saiyan Tommy does have a wind in a bottle he can use in a pinch. He just uses it preemptively, and he and Jacqueline Hyde are going to escort that harvester and maybe try to deal with this siege minion here. Jacqueline definitely needs to get out of the jungle, and that's the first kill happening. Yeah, I think Tommy and Jacqueline, they spent a little bit too long in the jungle there. They needed to, once that harvester was safe from the wind in the bottle, they just needed to get out and get back into the lane and deal with that siege minion. Looks like Tommy and the tower just finished it off, and I think Tommy and Mofodo will be able to hold this wave. I don't think any of Team 6 has repairs that they can use to tank this tower, but they are 4v2, and Jacqueline is going to be arriving in about 5 more seconds, so it's going to be 4v3, but Tommy and Mofodo are very low health. Mofodo has burned his repair now, and so has Tommy. They are using harpoons to clear this wave, and Jacqueline Hyde gets the last shot on Winter. Multiple harpoons going off, and they take a lot of damage, and it was able to finish one of them off. Looks like Team 5 is still going to win this payout. And Tommy with these long-range weapons, he is able to stay safe that way. having only 13 hit point regeneration. He has gotten one Loom Coil, a regeneration Loom Coil as Jilu, and next time he goes back to the base, I really need to see what ships are available. You can see Tommy he definitely intends to change ship, because he burned his Harpoon just to get back to the base a little bit faster. And so we have Dragonfly. I'm seeing, okay, he's switching weapons, Dragonfly, Mosaic, Revenant, Stalker. So Dragonfly could be useful. Lockjaw is also a tier 1. I know Winter on Team 5 is an adept Lockjaw player, so we might see that out of him. Lockjaw is a ship that, due to the way it's played, it tends to take a lot of damage in fights, kind of kamikaze-like, and so picking Lockjaw a little bit too early, you might have to go back to the base quite a lot. And that can actually put you behind in experience, from which Lockjaw really benefits. And so if you get Lockjaw a little bit too early, which both Vox and Winter have, they rip chain each other, and so neither of them are able to move. When two Lockjaws rip chain each other, they can grapple away, and I think it's whatever Lockjaw hits, either, I forget whether it's either the first Lockjaw to hit grapple or the last one pulls the other. I think with most hooking abilities, the hook that happened last overrides the hook that happened first, and so we do see Vox, back to my earlier point, he is having to go back to the base, and so he will lose some experience that way. And I do feel like as a Lockjaw main for a few months, haven't played it much in the recent patches, but when I pick it too early, I do tend to fall behind in experience that way. And so if Burrito ever Super Saiyan Tommy, aka Burrito, aka Pikabar, ever tabs and we see the experience of players, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lockjaw players are a level or two behind, just given how early they switched into Lockjaw. And it looks like Winter just ran into 3 or 4 people. Burrito had burned his Harpoon, and so he doesn't have it. Ward is trying to snipe Winter with the Dragonfly, misses both shots, so that was a waste of a Dragonfly ult that could have been used to clear minions. And meanwhile, Team 6, Darrow, and whoever else, they cleared out the Team 5 Harvester, so that was a good trade overall for Team 6. And their own Dragonfly is shooting somewhere. It never hit the bottom lane. Burrito looks like he is going for a Harpoon Sampan instead of a Shield Sampan. Typically, getting the shield gain and the shroud is a bit stronger on Sampan, but Burrito has opted for the Pierce and the triple Harpoon. Maybe he saw that there were no obvious wave clear ships apart from Dragonfly in the tier 1, and so he is just doing that to try to clear waves as effectively as possible. That is how we've seen Burrito play so far this game, just using the Harpoon to clear minions. He dodges Harpoon from one of the enemy team. Had that been augmented with extra damage, that could have killed Tommy there. I think the augmented damage Harpoon does about 1,000 damage at this point, though actually at level 11 it might be a deal more like 1,400. Burrito is able to clear out this siege minion and this wave along with Mofodo. And Ward is still aiming his Dragonfly at players instead of on the lane. I don't really agree with that idea this early in the game. It's very, very hard to snipe players, and it really is not that worth it. And I think given that their Team 6 is holding that top extractor, and I think Darrow must be playing Lurker or something. Oh no, it's the Dragonfly. He's teleporting the siege creep into the jungle. So they've got a pretty good push top, and I think Ward's Dragonfly Ultimate Death Gaze could have been better used on the minions here. So what's going on with the siege minion here? The Dragonfly has an ability, or has an augment, on its Q ability that can teleport allies along with itself. Oh, we see a Horizon come out. Not quite able to reach Vox. But what the Dragonfly and a few other ships can do, with any minions, but particularly siege minions, is you can take them out of the lane and put them into the jungle, and that way they won't run into the enemy tower, and they'll pretty much stay alive for as long as no players on the enemy team actively seek it out and kill it. And the siege minion, I think, has 2 max ammo and a ship attack, and so it deals a considerable amount of damage to anything that steps within its vision. And so hiding a siege minion like that in the jungle, it can deal a lot of damage occasionally to players who are just walking by. We do see Winter trying to go after Mofodo with that Lockjaw. You saw him release 2 grapples at once before releasing the Rip Chain. One technique that a lot of Lockjaw players are using is to release the second grapple onto a target before you even Rip Chain anybody, and that way you can arrive at your destination, rip chain, and by that exact moment, the second grapple will have landed, and you immediately begin traveling to your destination. And so there's no delay. There's almost no time window in between getting rip chained by the lockjaw and getting pulled to a nearby tower or enemy. And so if you're a nearby ally that has area repair or an area cleanse ability, you have very little time to react and save your ally. And if you are the one person getting pulled, you have very little. You are likely to get pulled for the full duration of the rip chain. And it looks like Team 6 getting 3 different kills there. So a very good play. Dragonfly also helping out, and the Horizon getting some kills there. So far Team 6 seems to have the advantage. I think they've won most of the payouts, and they've been getting most of the kills. And so I'm curious to see Burrito does, or Super Saiyan Tommy does change to Horizon. Horizon on Horizon action is a little bit interesting. What you can do as Horizon is wait for the other player to use their Horizon ultimate ability, and then you immediately begin yours. And what you can do is catch the other Horizon, get teleported to their ultimate, I forget what it's called, their little black hole location, where they've teleported everybody else, and then you teleport everybody who was caught in the enemy Horizon right back to your origin. Looks like Tommy is going to be able to save the Harvester and kill this Oasis here. Unless the Oasis is able to save himself. Winter's trying to save him. The Oasis is able to get a repair off and boop himself out of the way. Arnström does get caught in the Nori W, but then Jacqueline Hyde misses the harpoon, and so the Team 6, while Tommy is able to save his Harvester with that Horizon pull, they were unable to capitalize on it in terms of any kills, and now Team 5 has an Aurora out. Aurora is extremely effective at both wave clear and crowd control. I think it's probably one of the top 5 strongest ships in the game currently. And so Team 5 definitely needs their own Aurora soon if they want to compete in team fights here. And it looks like Winter is holding that offensive extractor, and so Team 6 does already have a little bit of a lead in this payout, and they did win the siege minions from the last payout. So Team 6 so far doing a little bit better than Team 5. And I think Tommy will have to clear out the siege minion before he rotates. Maybe he'll leave his 2 teammates, trust that they can hold off a siege minion. Or maybe they'll go after this Harvester. They can probably kill it safely if they get 2 or 3 or 4 people on it. Team 5 is coming out, and we see Darrow pull Tommy with the Horizon. And Tommy pulls him right back with his own Horizon that he used a second later. That is how you play Horizon versus Horizon. And I wonder if KD, or whatever his name is, that Aurora is going to be able to hook anybody. Winter does get a kill on the Lockjaw. Jacqueline Hyde is able to deflect Arnström's Adderbolt from his Dragonfly. So that does help out Tommy a little bit. He would have been in trouble had that hit him. And Tommy's going to go back and heal. He doesn't have any Octo for another upgrade. Now he does, that the Harvester has returned, but it's a little bit urgent that he gets back to this lane and de-pushes this wave right here. We have Winter, the Lockjaw, and P, the Oasis. Oasis is very good at maintaining these pushes. His Q ability can help allies or himself escape from fights very quickly, and his E can heal people. And so Tommy's going to use his E just to take the damage reduction, but as a consequence, Darrow is going to get the second pull on him, and KKJD20 was right there with the Horizon ultimate. He only caught 1 person in it, and so they were unable to capitalize, Team 5 was, but they are going to get the kill on Tommy now, and now Darrow is probably going to have a free Horizon pull in the next 30 seconds or so, so Team 5 really needs to be careful here. I wonder if Team 6 is going to go after their Harvester, given that they have a free moment. Mofodo and Vox are at full health, but 2 of them, it would be extremely dangerous for them to contest this in the middle. And Darrow, will he get hit by Ward? He is able to dodge Ward's Death Gaze. And now Arnström with this Dragonfly, he's pulling his creeps back out of the range of the tower, just helping them fight a little bit longer and hold this extractor. They did die eventually, but one thing that Arnström can do if he has a little bit bigger of a wave is he can teleport the minions down to the other side of the tower. That's the bottom left of the tower, and the tower by itself actually doesn't have vision below it. You can see this even in the Team 5 POV. You can see that Burrito is being given vision everywhere that any teammate has vision, and the tower does not provide vision below itself. And so if you are either Ward or Arnström, you can teleport minions to the opposite side of that tower, and what they can do is they won't be able to hit the tower unless somebody else is spotting for them in front of the tower, but they can just stay there indefinitely unless somebody actively targets them out, and in the meantime they can disable the shield regeneration on the tower. And so I wonder if Arnström is nearby. I haven't been paying attention. Yeah, if he teleports this siege minion down below the tower, that would be a worthwhile use of his time. The tower might just go down anyway. They're 4v2, and now Jacqueline Hyde's going to go down. Super Saiyan Tommy, he did change from Horizon to Stalker. I think the team really needs a Horizon. It's a little bit early for Stalker, and without any counter Horizon, Darrow is going to just wreak havoc on this team. Yeah, Team 5 without Horizon and without an Aurora, they're going to really struggle. And Ward looks like he is going to change to Aurora, so that was a good call. I don't think he was quite using the Dragonfly properly for much of this. He was spending too much effort targeting players and not enough just clearing the waves. Dragonfly is actually a decent solo laner. We could have had Ward in the top lane as Dragonfly, just making sure that that top never pushed, while occasionally aiming a death gaze. First death gaze at the bottom lane, second death gaze, which is a little bit harder to aim, into his own wave, and just built up waves by teleporting creeps. We see Arnström, looks like he teleported, or that could have been just accidental from P the Oasis. Put a little minion in the bottom jungle there to give vision. And it looks like Burrito's, or Tommy's stream is freezing a little bit. He is going back, and Tommy is not getting any weapon builds. This patch, weapon damage in particular is a little bit buffed, so you can get weapon DPS online to a pretty significant degree just by getting weapon damage. The base DPS of weapons themselves was significantly buffed in this patch. We see Darrow pulling his own Harvester just to safety. Jacqueline Hyde is a Horizon, and I wonder if Darrow didn't realize that, because now Jacqueline Hyde is going to have a free pull if they have a team fight in the next 20 or 30 seconds or so, which might happen as they're going to come down and gank this bottom here. Arnström and P, they both do have abilities that can quickly get themselves out. I'm surprised, I guess that tier 2 tower is already gone, but Arnström really could pull this siege minion down into the bottom jungle, and it would make it really effective, because as it is, this siege minion isn't going to be able to push the shipyard by itself. Jacqueline Hyde getting a good pull from Vox there, the Lockjaw. He is able to pull two people in. Arnström might be able to get out of the way. Not quite. He runs into the Nori W, and that's enough to stun him. And now Team 5 getting 2 kills there for free. Or rather, without any return kills. So very good trade there for Team 5. And the Siege Minion also does go down. That's why I think Arnström, of course, he did have multiple players to worry about, but that's why I'm generally in favor of teleporting the Siege Minions into the jungle if they're not going to be able to immediately push anything. So even this Siege Minion in the top lane here, Team 5 is going to be able to respond to it. Darrow might be able to pull it back. I wonder if he was trying to go for Vox there, but at the very least he pulls the wave back, and so it is able to hold for a little bit longer. And Team 6 is going to go after Team 5's Harvester. Team 5 not quite in position to contest it unless Jacqueline Hyde has her own pull. She could pull it into the tier 3 tower or towards the Salt Core, make it very easy for Team 5 to kill it. Mofodo switches to Volt. So I think the synergy here from Team 5 is going to be Super Saiyan Tommy pulling people and silencing people in an area for Ward and Mofodo to just nuke them with their abilities. Winter, there is no Lockjaw to counter him. So he is able to pull Mofodo. Jacqueline Hyde comes in with the Horizon. I wonder if she got hooked or something by Darrow, because that was strange of her to go all the way that way. Unless Winter also grabbed her. I didn't quite see what happened there. Burrito's going to go back and probably get the speedy repair on that Stalker. And I wonder if Jacqueline Hyde has a pull. I didn't quite pay attention properly to what was happening in that last fight. Mofodo for now, he's just trying to clear out the creep waves so that Team 5 or Team 6 doesn't deal any damage onto the shipyard there, and we see Mofodo trying to get some Volt procs off on the people whom Tommy had pulled, but he didn't quite have enough charges to deal a significant amount of damage. And meanwhile, Darrow's at this bottom lane here with a wave and a siege minion. Jacqueline Hyde is in trouble. Does she have a teleport, or is she going to go down from the blizzard? She will go down from the blizzard, and Tommy probably should just quickly change to a wave clear ship like Nautilus or Crucible and nuke this wave. He is sticking with the Stalker. He doesn't have any weapon upgrades, and so it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to deal with this minion wave here. Darrow might even be able to force him back and get some free shots on the shipyard, and that looks like what's going to happen. Tommy's going to have to either stand there and take a lot of damage. Mofodo is coming down, should be able to clear this out with the Volt procs, and there we go, just the siege minion remains. They did take about a third of the damage on that shipyard though. But I would say if I'm Burrito, I would have a ship up my sleeve, whether that's Crucible or Nautilus or whatever is augment compatible roughly with that Stalker build in case a big wave like that builds up. Because if that Stalker build works really well with teammates like Ward and Mofodo, being able to nuke people whom Tommy has pulled and silenced, but by himself Tommy can't do much, especially against this stacked up wave. So I wonder if Tommy's going to start upgrading weapons, just get a little bit more wave clear. And Team 6 continues to maintain an economic advantage here. Though all 5 players on both teams are alive, so the next team fight could swing things in Team 5's favor if it goes well enough. Like if they get 2 or 3 kills and nobody dies. Big Dragonfly shot hitting multiple people on Team 5, and so that's going to force Tommy back into the base, and it looks like Team 6 is going to make a push bottom. They're going to kill Team 5's Harvester first. Team 5 is not in a position to contest Team 6's Harvester. That would be incredibly dangerous from them, and they would also leave the shipyard alone. Fox doesn't quite have the range on the Lurker hook to pull in P. It was well aimed though. Jacqueline Hyde pinging danger from the Aurora, and she is going to be able to pull in at least Darrow. Gets the pull in on P, and then P gets nuked by Mofodo. Well executed there by both players. And now Tommy's going to get a pull on Darrow, and Ward finishes him off. So 2 kills there for Team 5. Very good team fighting tactics. And that Stalker Horizon for the displacement and for the pulls, and Aurora and Volt for the damage. That's a really good team composition. Those siege minions are starting to get a bit tough though. I don't think any of these players really have much weapon damage. Tommy's starting to get it, but I think Mofodo and Ward are mostly relying on abilities to deal damage. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd have to look at their health bars, but I wouldn't be surprised if they've gone reinforcement in addition to accelerator instead of weapons. Looks like Mofodo has some reinforcement. Ward doesn't, so Ward probably has some weapon DPS. But just those siege minions, even against players with high weapon DPS, they get so tough in the late game. And so winning the payouts is really crucial. Team 6 is continuing to win this, continuing to win on the current payout bar, but a kill or 2 from Team 5 would probably switch that up, and Team 5 could finally win a siege minion. We'll have to see what happens. They were up 5-3 for a while. Now Team 6 has all 5 players, and Team 5 wasn't really able to capitalize on anything. They weren't even able to push the middle extractors, but at least they did keep their shipyard safe for a while. Team 6 just overall, even with those 2 deaths, continuing to earn more gold than Team 5 just from pure extractor control and being able to kill those harvesters by the map control of the jungle. Another team fight going to happen bottom. Tommy really needs to get in there. His pull is so important for making that Volt hook work. Jacqueline Hyde having to get out of the way. I wonder which Horizon is going to be used first. It's kind of a game of chicken here. And Winter getting a good pull on multiple people, and Jacqueline Hyde is forced to use her Horizon first. They are able to get 1 kill. It looks like that was the Aurora on the enemy team. And that's actually a good trade for Team 5. Didn't quite see exactly what happened, but they do win their first siege minion in a while, and so with 2 siege minions, the siege minion itself on top should passively push probably even through the tier 1 tower. Team 6 will probably respond to that in time. They do have 2 people, so if one person manages the top lane, they'll keep that siege minion from pushing by itself. But it looks like somebody is, it looks like it's Vox is going to come up and manage that wave, and Tommy is going to accompany him. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take at least this tier 1 tower, and then Team 6 will still have to respond by the time they reach the tier 2 tower. Tommy having to go out of his way to hunt down these minions whom Arnström has teleported in the jungle. There is still one just south of Jacqueline Hyde that they are ignoring for now. It's just going to passively give a little bit of vision, not deal that much damage. If it were a siege minion, it would deal a considerable amount of damage, but you can see just the inconvenience. Tommy has to go out of his way to push it, and he cannot push the tier 2 tower. He is able to cleanse, or somebody cleansed from Winter's grab, so Winter was unable to really deal anything with that, though it wasn't a well-executed lockjaw pull. And Tommy trying to upgrade his weapon DPS through these green coils here. He is foregoing hit point regeneration. I generally think hit point regeneration is the best way to go. It will give you more hit points per second than any of the other coils will give damage per second, with a couple of rare exceptions. With stacking certain combinations of green or white coils, and it also works even when you're out of combat and just helps you sustain. And so I'm generally a fan of just picking the health regeneration coil as Jalu, but maybe if you're playing really defensively and you just need to clear waves, and you can go to your salt core or into your fountain enough, or frequently enough and conveniently enough to heal, you can consider weapon DPS a little bit more urgent than just regeneration. We do see a Prism out from KKJD20, so he swapped out of the Aurora, and Prism is another thing that's extremely strong, but gets hard countered by an enemy Prism, and so you kind of get a similar dynamic to that of Horizon versus Horizon, where the Prism who goes last wins the engagement, as a general rule. So I wonder if any of Team 5 has repair inhibitors on their weapons, or if they're planning on getting a Prism. Winter is forced to escape this pull. He does save him with the Oasis, and Arnström with the Dragonfly teleports everybody out. Darrow's doing a good job of split pushing, forcing Team 5 to run back and forth just to hold off the pressure. Darrow doesn't have a very big wave built up because there's no siege minion. Team 5 did win the last one, and they are going to win this one. So it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for Team 6 to quite push their way into a shipyard. They'll have to win a team fight, and so far, for the last 7 or 8 minutes, Team 5 has been winning the few team fights that have happened. Arnström hitting a couple of Dragonfly procs. Tommy gets hooked, but he's able to escape. And again, there are 2 Horizons, I think. Actually, Jacqueline Hyde might be the only Horizon. Looks like Darrow's switched to Lurker, and so Darrow gets killed, and now P is going to get pulled. He does have the offensive damage on the Oasis, but it's not quite enough to deal much. So it looks like Team 5 has been just trying to rely on playing defensively and winning the team fights, and they are getting a net worth advantage. They have won the last 3 payouts, and they are on track to win this one. They will have to take back an extractor or 2, otherwise Team 6's passive income will allow them to just simply win the next payout, but I think they're able to push this time, and they might even get this tier 2 tower at the bottom lane here. I wonder if Tommy has a pull. There are minions that Arnström has teleported into the jungle that are just really annoying for everybody to deal with. They're having to waste time, burn abilities. They do have to escort their wave anyway, so there's not that much real time lost, but they better tank the tower for the minions, otherwise they're just going to get killed. And looks like Ward did a really good job of pulling Winter into that blizzard, and Winter almost is dead. Tommy is blocked, and he gets hooked back by his own team. So they are unable to finish him off, but they do get the tier 2 tower on the top. Siege minion being accompanied by, I think that was Mofodo on the top pushing his Volt, and they might even be able to finally kill an extractor from Team 6 and escort their own back. So Team 6 is back online, so they are de-pushing the wave on bottom and killing the siege minion on top. And so maybe Team 5 is just going to wait for the next team fight. They have been doing a very good job of just being patient and engaging in these team fights in a way that's favorable for them. Again, they do have 3 engaged ships, Tommy, Jacqueline, and Vox, and 2 just really high damage ships in the Volt and the Aurora. Lurker has burned its hook. Discovered that Arnström has teleported more creeps into the jungle, annoyingly. And I think if you're Team 5, you probably want to just stick to one lane. It looks like they're all going top. They got to be careful that bottom doesn't get pushed, but they might try to force a team fight on this top lane here. And Team 6 was winning the early game, but honestly, I think Team 6 is a little bit worried right now because they have not won a team fight in about 10 or 15 minutes. Team 5 has won the last 3 considerably. I don't think Team 6 has killed anybody in about 10 minutes, and Team 5 has gotten 6 or 7 kills in that time. Winter trying to de-push that wave. He doesn't have the knockback on his Lockjaw. The knockback augment for the Blaze does make wave clearing as Lockjaw considerably easier, but you do forego a little bit of damage against players when you pull them into a tower, because the blazes don't hit as often. Looks like Ward burns a blizzard and Arnström gets caught in it. He has to teleport out of the way, and then either, I forget who that was that the Lurker or was that Tommy, pulls an enemy into the blizzard, and they take a ton of damage. Winter is in trouble here. He just jumped into 3 people. He's almost able to kill Jacqueline Hyde. Indeed he is. Arnström trying to finish people off with the desk gaze. Can't quite hit. Hits Tommy. Tommy survives with about 300 hit points. And I think Team 5 is starting to build an advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if they're ahead overall in net worth. Darrow is continuing to try to split push bottom, but without siege minions, he's not going to be able to do that much by himself, and Team 5 is on track to win the next siege minion. Additionally, they're even pushing the North Shipyard. Excuse me. I apologize, I have been sick this week. Looks like Team 5 is going after the Harvester. That was probably unwise, as Ward does get killed, but they're at least able to kill the Harvester. Team 6 is going to be able to get their Harvester in return. And now they're back online, and Team 5 is without Ward for another 50 seconds. So Team 6 can probably push the top lane. And we'll see what they do here. Mofodo burns his abilities on a wave, and Team 6 is on their way top. Tommy is on his way to respond, as is Vox. Jacqueline Hyde is there as the Aurora. Vox misses the pull. Jacqueline Hyde, if I were her, I would wait at the tier 3 tower and try to get a good pull in. Unless you have a blizzard into which to pull, there's not much use into pulling people. He is able to pull all 3 of the enemy team, and they're dealing quite a lot of damage, though I don't think they'll be able to finish everybody off, and now Vox is in a little bit of trouble, so is P, able to boop himself out of the way, and Darrow coming in from the bottom, able to get a kill on Vox, and so Team 6 wins that engagement. I think that was just an unwise fight to take generally. Jacqueline Hyde probably could have pulled them in a little bit closer to the tier 3 tower and gotten some damage assistance there and made it so that they would have been fighting a little bit closer to their own base. Jacqueline Hyde riding the Lockjaw, able to return with P, who gets nuked by Mofodo. And now they will have to respond to the siege minion bottom. They will get there in time, though. Burrito does have Frostfighter and Overclocker for a lot of short-range DPS. Though the top shipyard is starting to take damage. Bottom shipyard is down a little bit with a hook ward. That's probably the best target they can hook. But then Tommy comes in, hooks 3 of them, and then they all get nuked by Mofodo. The synergy between the Stalker and the Volt is incredible. And Team 5 is doing an exceptional job of taking advantage of it. And they might, with 4 of the enemy team down, Darrow will come back in about 15 seconds, I think. Or no, Darrow's gone for a while. Whoever that is, with 10 seconds left. I think that's P. P doesn't deal much damage, so I think they'll get a shipyard off of this. Team 5 will. And this would be a good time if you're P or Winter, just to quickly swap to something like Horizon or Crucible or Nautilus, anything that can clear these pushes. You might be able to stall enough time, another 20 or so, another 30 or so seconds, save your shipyards. Right now, Winter and P are up top. Looks like somebody got hooked. And so Tommy and Ward are freely pushing this bottom. And Mofodo gets another kill, and all 5 of Team 6 are dead. And so Team 5 is going to get both shipyards and give themselves a considerable advantage. They might even get this Tier 3 tower and begin pushing the core. Top shipyard should come down in another 2 seconds or so. There it goes. Tier 3 tower is down. And out comes at least 3 of the enemy team. But Burrito does have a lot of Akko, as should his teammates, and so they can go back and just play it very safe, as they have been, and they should win this game. And Team 5 spawning the siege minions. Team 6 is not going to be able to pull anybody for now. Burrito with 3 kind of suboptimal Loom Coil choices for Stalker, and in fact he picks the white coil. Yeah, permabulk on a Stalker isn't great. You need speed. Eagle's Iris doesn't really apply to Stalker, since all of its abilities are kind of just not ranged. And then whatever the specialist is, the specialist needs to be retuned a little bit, because it's just not very effective in the current patch for weapons, given that all weapons have a shots to charge of 4. And so I wonder if you're Team 5, I mean, obviously they have such good team synergy, so they might just force team fight top here that they can win. But they could also send somebody bot just to keep pressure on the bot as well. Looks like Winter tried to pull the team into the Salt Core, and Mofodo does kill him in return. And now they get a hook on Darrow. I wonder if Tommy doesn't have anything to pull, but he does have the Frostbiter. Darrow does get healed by somebody. I forget whether that was Arnström or P. But Arnström's Dragonfly probably not doing much in these team fights. And I think Team 5 is just going to force this win at this point. They do have a siege minion with low health. Darrow goes down. Arnström's going to go down if he sticks around. But nope, instead the Salt Core is going to go down. And Team 5 is going to win. So this is a best of 3. So we will see who wins this next game. But Team 6 got into a considerable lead early on, but then Team 5 just won every team fight for the rest of the game, except for maybe one. And so if you're Team 6, I would be a little bit scared going forward, because they played so well in the early game and they still just lost. Anyways, I'll see if my voice is holding up, and I'll try to cast the second game, and we'll see if there will be a third game. But so far, Team 5 looks very formidable.